Welcome to Backstage View, grassroots music where we observe, participate, appreciate. In this video segment, I sit down with the legend himself, Pete Wernick, an original member and co-founder of Hot Rise, arguably one of the most renowned bluegrass bands for the past 35 years. Pete was also the first president of the International Bluegrass Music Association, the IBMA. Re-elected each year from 1986 to 2001, he's penned numerous classic songs, banjo books, jam books, and has created the Wernick method for teaching jam classes. Pete has played with Bill Monroe, Earl Scruggs, Steve Martin, Jerry Garcia, and just about everyone else you can imagine. Join me in my conversation with this great innovator here on Backstage View. Pete, the bluegrass community is growing tremendously, and an organization called the International Bluegrass Music Association was put together, and you were elected as the first president, and it lasted for 15 years. Tell us about that.
Well, in 1985, a group of people that were into the bluegrass industry, as they called it, which included some of the main record companies, Rounder, Sugar Hill, and so on, and also Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, and some agents and whatnot. They decided there should be a bluegrass trade organization and not just a fan organization, which already existed and was giving out awards, and they wanted something a little more on the professional level. So they started the IBMA. Hot Rise was encouraged to join, and we did. And I was asked to run for president. My opponent was Mike Longworth from Martin Guitars, and anyway, I won the election, and the duties of president were mostly being able to make speeches and so on, and sort of voice the organization to people in the organization as well as people outside the organization. Sort of, it's something of a figurehead position, but I was also in on all the board meetings and things like that. It wasn't like being the president of the U.S. where you're the main executive, you know, because there's a board of directors and so on. But I represented the leadership of IBMA for all those years, and the people who elected me year after year were the board. And they just kept asking me to run, and I said, well, I'm glad to do it. After a while I said, you know, you probably should get somebody else. And one year, the executive director, Dan Hayes, made fun of me. He said, that's the worst campaign speech I've ever heard. He said.
Well, this must have grown so much. I was there this year for the first time,
and
it was amazing the size of it. So how did it, when it started out, how large was it?
Well, it started small. It started with a group of less than 20 people, but it became obvious to people who were in it for serious business and not just fan stuff, which is of course important, and we included fans in the IBMA so they could support the organization and be part of the effort. But a trade organization, it's like a chamber of commerce, and the whole idea, I summed it up in 2 words: help bluegrass, which is there's so many ways to help bluegrass: put on events, maintain lists of who's doing what, and how to keep the network going. This was all done before the internet, before cell phones, so having an organization that would help people network and get together was critical, and it really helped bluegrass grow in a big way.
Sure. The conferences alone are so educational.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and just a place for people to congregate for a whole week. Originally it was in Owensboro, Kentucky, and there was nothing else really going on in Owensboro, so when you went up there you were immersed in the bluegrass world. And then we also were in Louisville and Nashville, and they gave us additional reach, but it's really blossomed in Raleigh in the last couple of years.
Amazing. I felt like as a fan, it was just tremendous. Everywhere you go, there's something going on.
Yeah, we put on this year, besides Hot Rise playing there, which was the first time we had done that for a while, but they also had me do a Bluegrass Jamming Workshop, and this is one of my main thrusts these days, is I'm promoting bluegrass jamming. I have a system where we certify teachers. Part of what we do with the whole jam effort is, we provide all these services to teachers, including training them how to use the Wernick method, but we also have evaluations where the students are encouraged to go online and take a survey after they've taken the class. So we get to monitor these teachers who are now all over the world. We have 10 countries represented in the Wernick method, as well as 40 states. And but I can't be there and see them teach, but so we find from these surveys what the students think. And really all the teachers are getting great reviews from their students because they need to develop these skills.
Yeah, I've met a few of the teachers, and I like them all a real lot. But within the world of Pete Wernick and the many projects you have going, which could be found at drbanjo.com. Tell us more. What other projects you have? Particularly, I was very interested in the bands that you are now training as well.
Yeah, I do band coaching, you might say. I've had weekends where I get 5 bands together and I coach them individually and critique them and answer questions about the business and about also one of the things that's the hardest, and it's hard to talk about, but how a band gets along, because a lot of bands who are very good sometimes break up after 3 years or so. 2 people are feuding and it just breaks the band
So
up.
the more popular they get, the more...
It's not so much that. It's not based on the popularity, it's based on the fact you're still together and you're together, and things that you didn't mind so much the first year are starting to get on your nerves the second year.
Like a marriage.
And then, right, it's just like a marriage. There's a honeymoon period, and then there's crisis times, and a lot of bands don't survive the crisis.
So Pete, tell us more about Dr. Banjo.
Well, I've been, since I was 28 years old, I've been putting out instructional materials, and so that led, after just doing books, I did a Bluegrass Banjo book, Bluegrass Song book, but then when videos came along, I got to start doing videos with homespun tapes, and I did a best-selling how to play banjo video first in the middle 80s. And then when I started getting into teaching jamming, I thought it would be appropriate to have jam-along videos at real slow speeds and teaching the principles of jamming. So, as an example, with just knowing the chords G, C, D, and A, the person can play along with the whole 2-hour video at slow speeds and get a sense of what it's like to really blend with other musicians and not just be there in their room using tablatures to play solos real slow and painstakingly, and just join in the fun of actual bluegrass jamming, first with a video, but then hopefully in person. So my main thrust right now is I'm still running a lot of camps. I'm running one on Lake George this summer, and I've been doing one at Merlefest for years, and do one in Colorado and one in California. Cut down the schedule because of hot rise this year, but often do about 10 camps in a year. But the main thing I do is I'm certifying people to do the same methods all over the country and in other countries. And we've had 3,000 people now, more than 3,000, go through the program, and the reviews are great. We're changing a lot of people's lives because they change from wannabe musicians to musicians. And my definition of a successful musician is somebody who has fun playing music. So we have 3,000 successful musicians thanks to this program. And
so it started out with the videos, and you evolved that into the classrooms that you have.
Well, actually, I didn't do the videos until I had teaching experience. My general practice is if I see there's a teaching need, I just teach it as well as I can. Like I'm still learning how to teach 3-part bluegrass harmony. And when I think I've got it down well enough to put it on a video, then I'll probably make a video about that. But first I have to do it in person and do a lot of trial and error to see what works. And then when I think I got something working, then I make the videos. That's what I do with the jam videos. That's what I've done with all these banjo instruction videos, like how to make up a banjo solo.